We ride around this ghost. If we show up, then we still have it. Yeah, we slide around this coast. Yeah, we glowing up, but we still trapped. Sitting high up on the stone. Put my foes out, got the world clapping. Yeah, we vibing up in this show. So your main girl in the private section. Yeah, we ride around this ghost. If we show up, then we still have it. Yeah, we slide around this coast. Yeah, we glowing up, but we still trapped. Sitting high up on the stone. Put my foes out, got the world clapping. Yeah, we vibing up in this show. So your main girl in the private section. Yeah, glowing up, but we still trapped. That's how a nigga survives. Flowing out, got the crowd packed. Yeah, that's how a nigga provides. Y'all insta this, y'all snap that, y'all diss this, and they snap back. Another mass shooting in the headlines. I'm like, damn, where that attack at? Cause y'all think this about race. They font that shit in your face. It's like every day it's the same agenda. It's really not that hard to trace. Fuck it, we might as well face it. Accept it, whatever it's wrapped in. There'll come a day when they run out of grace. So me and my niggas stay trapping. Yeah, ride around this ghost. If we show up, then we still have it. Yeah, we slide around this coast. Yeah, we glowing up, but we still trapped. Sitting high up on the stone. Put my foes out, got the world clapping. Yeah, we vibing up in this show. So your main girl in the private section. Hey, someone be too hard, wanted to be, and then what I became. Ended up going my own way, but I couldn't stay in my lane. Now if I'm honest, I've taken a liking to wearing these chains. They hold me down, make it easier when I start feeling the pain. Out of the overflow, your heart, they say your mouth speaks. Well, my heart must be fucked up, cause I can't speak and I can't sleep. So I stay woke in this daydream. Got shit to do, got the world to see. Got the same crew, got some new fleets. This an empire, fucking boutique, that's real. I only say what I feel, got a new plate with the same meal. On a new height with the same chill. Y'all too fake, I stay real. Got cast down from heaven, but I'm too good to stay in hell. I don't know where the story ends, but I keep writing like oh well, oh well. Yeah, I keep writing like oh well, oh well. Yeah, hey, I don't know where the story ends, but I keep writing like oh well, oh well. Yeah, we ride around this ghost. If we show up, then we still have it. Yeah, we slide around this coast. Yeah, we glowing up, but we still trapped. Sitting high up on the stone. Put my foes out, got the world clapping. Yeah, we vibing up in this show. So your main girl in the private section. Yeah, we ride around this ghost. If we show up, then we still have it. Yeah, we slide around this coast. Yeah, we glowing up, but we still trapped. Sitting high up on the stone. Put my foes out, got the world clapping. Yeah, we vibing up in this show. So your main girl in the private section. Yeah. This is that one song that you heard so many times, and every time you hear it, you're like, I'm not gonna bump to this song. But then you start catching a vibe. I'm sorry, not sorry. Yeah. East Coast with the gang, 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 gang. West Coast with the gang, 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 gang. Lower with the gang, 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 gang. You know we don't play gang, gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, 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 gang. West Coast with the gang, 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 gang. Lower with the gang, 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 gang. You know we don't play gang, gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, 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 gang. West Coast with the gang, 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 gang. Lower with the gang, 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 gang. You know we don't play gang, gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, 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 gang. West Coast with the gang, 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 gang. Lower with the gang, 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 gang. You know. Yeah. Whoa. East Coast with that gang, gang. You know we don't play games. Whoa. Hop up on that wagon. Oh, please just get out the way. You know we stay stuntin'. Right up in your face. We sorry, not sorry. We just stuck up in our ways. West Coast, no hands, stand up. Put that glass and hands up. Gang, 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 we famed up. Got that change, we bagged up. True love, we stay manned up. Ahem like I'm wheezy, yeah. Rap game just too easy. Drip so sick, I'm queasy. Whoa. East Coast with the gang, 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 gang. West Coast with the gang, 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 gang. Lower with the gang, 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 gang. You know we don't play gang, gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, 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 gang. West Coast with the gang, 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 gang. Lower with the gang, 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 gang. You know we don't play gang, gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, 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 gang. West Coast with the gang, 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 gang. Lower with the gang, 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 gang. You know we don't play gang, gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, 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 gang. West Coast with the gang, 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 gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. Yeah. Watch me finesse. walk to the line. Good versus evil, God in his prime. Always in prime, always on time. Our time to shine. Wifey is fine, I'm doing fine. Glad that you asked. God fill me up, mud in my glass. God clean me up, all that I ask. Wherever you headed there fast. I am ahead, you are in last. Last time I checked, you are all gas. Gas in the whip it up fast. Fast and all furious, I'm starting to spaz. Getting all curious, you put me on blast. Blasting that Darius, kids in the back. Back to the future is black. Black like T'Challa, Wakanda attack. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, 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 gang. Lover with the gang, 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 gang. You know we don't play gang, gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, 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 gang. West Coast with the gang, 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 gang. Lover with the gang, 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 gang. You know we don't play gang, gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, 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 gang. West Coast with the gang, 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 gang. Lover with the gang, 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 gang. You know we don't play gang, gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, 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 gang. West Coast with the gang, 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 gang. Lover with the gang, 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 gang. You know we don't play gang, gang, gang. Yeah. Never dispose of the pen, I'm at it again. We close to the end, the older I get, emphatic I am. They try to pretend, they try to be friend, wreak havoc instead. Look at the trends, can't comprehend my dramatic ascent. I'm heavenly sent, they try to condemn. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the man. Yeah, different vision but the same goes. Big collision off the main road, that's the beaten path where my brain goes. Felt the devil's wrath off my halo. Hella stones, no Thanos. Hella gold, no rainbow. This is hella genius in my brain lobes. Hella gross as far as revenue goes. Bought me a net for these Benjamins though. You not a threat, you an enemy though. Broke me a sweat, killing enemies slow. Body offset, all these feminine flows. Hardly upset, but you testing me though. All of these stats are depressingly low. Why your girl think I'm a specimen though? Drones and them perks is my medicine though. There's no comparison, black in America, little too arrogant. I just embarrass y'all niggas irrelevant. I shouldn't mention it, that's royal etiquette. Out of my element, way too intelligent. Grab you a therapist, send in my sentiments. Neck full of sediments, cop me a Tesla and skirt through the valley. Drop the investment in Silicon Valley. All this cake, but I'm missing the patty. Might mess around and just move to Miami. Drums are so loud that they breaking the chassis. King of the grass like I'm Lionel Messi. I am not crass, but my mental is messy. Mud in my glass while my pencil is sketching. All these rappers, but no one impressed me. Most of them actors at labels is testing. It's been a while since I dropped this shit. Swole fam, y'all better run this up. KD, let's go. Yeah. Aye, East Coast with that gang gang, West Coast with that gang gang, global with that gang gang, you know we don't play gang, yeah. East Coast with that gang gang, West Coast with that gang gang, global with that gang gang, you know we don't play gang, yeah. East Coast with that gang gang, West Coast with that gang gang, global with that gang gang, you know we don't play gang, yeah. East Coast with that gang gang, West Coast with that gang gang, global with that gang gang, yeah. You know we don't play gang. I'm blessed, I never said I didn't struggle. I finesse, I never said I didn't hustle. These niggas talk so loud, the way I move is subtle. I'm the ocean, but these niggas just a puddle. Ay, oh, I swear I'm delusional. These niggas, they using me. They want my energy, ain't nothing new, this is usual. These figures confusing me. What's gotten into me? They say I'm using their cubicles. Clipping KD like some cuticles. None of this shit is excusable. Don't need a muse when I'm musical. Ay, whoa, I'm tired of saying for truth when nobody's doing it. Yeah. They're controlling the youth, agenda abusing them, nigga. We losing them. Matter of fact, we just abusing them, that's a fact. We try to roll with a ballad act. Fucking low key with a Tesseract. They throwing smoke when they got to that. Get the fuck up out your little bubble. They wanna ask how much it costs, I said it double. Gorilla beer, these niggas only rockin' stubble. The realest nigga make these bitches start to stumble. Aye, East Coast with that gang gang, West Coast with that gang gang, global with that gang gang, you know we don't play gang, yeah. East Coast with that gang gang, West Coast with that gang gang, global with that gang gang, you know we don't play gang, yeah. East Coast with that gang gang, West Coast with that gang gang, global with that gang gang, you know we don't play gang, yeah. East Coast with that gang gang, West Coast with that gang gang, global with that gang gang, you know we don't play gang.
Obesity is epidemic in the United States and a major cause of death.
What is fat activism?
I, a fat person, am sharing my own lived experience.
Pizza is a vegetable.
Your fat phobia is your problem.
It is not my place as a smaller-bodied white man to comment on it.
Radical body positivity.
What can men do against such reckless hate?
There's only one man who can help me.
This is for you new people. I only have one rule. Everyone fights, no one quits.
This day we fight!
Swole North.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testing, 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 testicles, testicles. Welcome everyone to episode 3309 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular Swolecast, Beercast, Broadcast, Gamecast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Sleevescast, and Slaycast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. What's going on, beaches, booshes, bustas, hustlers, and yahos? It's your boy Papa Swolio back with another episode. In today's episode, the Beastcast is brought to you, is powered, is sponsored by Everest and K2, flexing on all you All right, fam, welcome to the show. 3309, Wednesday, May the 28th. Welcome, come one, come all. Let's get into today's episode. We got some good Swole fan posts. We're going to take some more responses from the Swole text earlier this week. We do have some awesome comments as well inside the Swolenormous app. And of course, we will take some questions, go balls deep. Today, I'm rocking the Gym Busters design that we dropped 2 weeks ago. So that's now available over at papaswolio.com. We got 20% off all the merch. And of course, on Monday, today's Wednesday, so 2 days ago, we dropped the Circle of Lift. What an amazing design. Brand new Lion King design. It's the Circle of Lift. And there it is in its high def perfection. Go check it out over at papaswolio.com. Get your new nip covers. A bunch of you already picked it up. I appreciate it. And make sure you wear it well. Now, let's get on into that tip. Babe, just an inch. It's cold outside.
What's in the box?
Today's first post is from Ronnie, and Ronnie says, "Hello, I am new to the Swole fam and fresh at starting an actual fitness routine. I'm 53 years old, a massage therapist, and I really want to get in touch with my well-being and take care of my health." Aww. Isn't that fantastic? I want to get in touch with my inner Swole, with my inner gains. Welcome to the Swole fam, Ronnie. So we're stoked to have you. Thanks for commenting. Thomas in the Swolenormous app says, "Hey everyone, just joined the fam. I am 43 years old living in Germany and I started building muscles for 2 years now. I'm hitting a plateau, so I need new inspiration. I'm listening to the podcast for a while now and love the no bullshit attitude." Welcome to the Swole fam. Shout out to Germany. And let's get into some more of those responses. If you didn't respond to this text, make sure you do. You could also drop in the comments 3 things that you're grateful for. Even if you responded 2 days ago, you could drop in the comments 3 other things that you're grateful for. Let's read a couple more of these Swole fam responses, and then we will get into some questions. Blake says, "I'm grateful for my grandfather who fought the Nazis and made it back to have my mother and thus me. I'm grateful for the sacrifices the men and women of our armed forces make every single day to protect us. I'm grateful to live in the greatest country in the world, even though our government sucks most of the time." Absolutely based. And this is important. This is why I fly the red, white, and blue. And you could be proud of your country. You could be proud of your ancestors, and you could still hate the government. The government sucks. You know, this country was founded upon like being anti-government. Of course, we have to create some sort of a social structure. And then we all know, I'm not going to go into it's very complicated, but of course the government just keeps on expanding. That's the one thing that government does. It just constantly expands. Small government, limited, international affairs, borders, that kind of stuff. Everything else, get the fuck out of our lives. So I agree. Great country, but the government can use a lot of work. I think we all agree. Emily says the bravery on D-Day, the operation that got bin Laden, and the brave soldiers that fought at Benghazi. All right, very specific things you're grateful for, and appreciate the response. Thank you. Joanna says fresh air and another beautiful goddamn day in America. You gotta hit that button again. I'm gonna break it. Leslie says grateful for free speech, the right to bear arms, and the freedom of religion. Well said. Megan says, thank you. 3 things I'm grateful for this Memorial Day are the service members who had given their lives so I may have this beautiful one. My loving husband and my children, and grateful to God, most of all, for allowing truth to be revealed and for his mercy and grace. Well said. Aww. Well said. Thank you for sharing. Troy says, I am grateful for my God, my country, and my beautiful daughter. Great responses. Great responses. I agree. Fantastic. Good stuff. Let's see. Pam says, today I'm grateful to be able to have the time and ability to see my grandkids. A 4-hour drive for a 30-minute program worth every minute. Let's fucking go. All right, let's get into some questions. All right. Let's drop in the comments below. Hashtag Ask Papa Swole if you have a question. Let's get on into it. This one is from Zeke Dion. Papa Swolio, what are some diet tips to stay consistent and stop cravings? Diet tips to stay consistent and stop cravings. Let's actually turn on. Let's go on Instagram. Let's see. Ask Papa Swolio live. Let me see here. See if we get some more. We'll get some more questions. Dope. All right. Diet tips to stay consistent and stop cravings. Doing an elimination diet, eating more meat and fruit, hydration, proper sleep. The reason why you have cravings is because you have addictions to ultra processed and usually highly toxic foods. So your cravings are kind of irrational. You're hungry. You need to fuel your body with proper nutrition. If you don't, you're going to have cravings. And especially if you're eating chemical trash, you're going to be having a lot of these addictive withdrawal symptoms. So start an elimination diet. Go to swolenormousx.com and go through the elimination. Focus on quality foods and quality sleep and proper hydration. A lot of what people suffer from when it comes to cravings is usually dehydration and lack of micronutrient density in your food. Let's see. J.R. Shockley on Instagram. Papa Swolio, can resistance bands be enough to replace weights? Well, resistance is weight. So resistance bands provide overload. Resistance bands are not going to be enough in terms of if you're trying to optimize muscle growth. Resistance bands can be good if you have limited space, if you're traveling, but it's not ideal for a primary source of training. Some people love bands more than anything, but of course the strength profile for a lot of exercises for bands are backwards or inverted. Bands are great for things like glutes. They're great for triceps, but a lot of other exercises a lot of other muscles need to be targeted more from a more lengthened position, and resistance bands get more challenging as they stretch. So certain movements like, for example, quads, the leg extension, or glutes, the hip extension component, and of course, triceps, elbow extension. Those are going to be a couple that are ideal or really good for bands with that ascending strength profile. But they're harder to progressively overload, and a lot of muscles, it's just not going to be ideal to set up with bands or get heavy enough bands or be able to anchor yourself. So it's a tool, but I would not focus my training using resistance bands only. Pedro Mucci on Instagram. Can I take creatine with Pepsi? How about not drinking garbage? How about that? How about not drinking garbage? If you're watching on Instagram, this is a live show, and we're live on Rumble and YouTube at The Daily Swole. We're only here for the question portion, so click the link in the bio and come watch the rest of the show. It's also available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you bang your ear holes with podcasts. Sandesh Arya, Papa Swole, your take on carbs. Carbs are great. Quality carbs, earlier in the day before noon is better for carbohydrates and before your heavy strength training, but the quality of the carbs matter. Do an elimination diet? Lazy question. Rory, Papa Swole, do you feel deadlifting is not enough reward for the risk? I don't think deadlifts are risky. Most people just go too heavy and their form sucks and their mobility sucks and their nutrition sucks. And people get hurt for all sorts of reasons. Just because you're doing deadlifts doesn't mean it's by default risk. If you start appropriately and you have good form, it's actually, I would say, almost equal risk as to any other exercise. Most people just start deadlifting by putting 45 on and their back is rounding and they're not activating the proper muscles. They have shitty form. I don't think deadlifts are necessary for a program. I think hip hinges are important. So you could do stiff leg deadlifts. You could do RDLs. You could do 45-degree hypers with a band or with dumbbells. So deadlifts themselves are overrated. It's a very fundamental movement, picking something off the ground. But if you want to focus on hypertrophy primarily, there are better exercises for most people. So if you're trying to work your spinal erectors, you're trying to get a hip hinge, I would recommend doing good mornings. I would recommend doing stiff leg deadlifts. I think you'll get a lot more out of it. And it's much better for hypertrophy and less fatiguing because you're not loading it quite as much as deadlifts and you're targeting more specific musculature like the hip hinge rather than just more distribution total over your entire body. So it's not required. There's no exercise that's required, especially for building muscle. There's no specific exercise. You have to do squats. You have to do deadlifts. That's just not true. You need progressive overload. And in my opinion, I don't do standard conventional deadlifts, and I never did the fake ass sumo deadlifts. I just think that's ridiculous. But there's nothing wrong with deadlifts. But again, stiff leg deadlifts or Romanian deadlifts, I just think there's better options for people if you're trying to focus on muscle growth. So anything is going to be risk. Walking down the street is a risk. If you trip and fall and hit your head on the sidewalk, that's risk. Of course, if you have good stability and you have good awareness and you have good mobility and reaction, there's a low risk of that happening to you on the side of the street. So again, it's all relative to what you're training for and if you're setting yourself up for success. So you can, of course, do deadlifts very low risk, go very light, adjust the bar height, work on your mobility, proper form, and progress very slowly. A lot of people just load up a lot of weight and their form sucks from the beginning and then it becomes exposed as you go heavier and heavier. Swole Monkey on Rumble. Papa Swolio, I've read that protein timing throughout the day is not nearly as important as total protein intake throughout the day. Is this true? Yeah, I would say generally that is. I don't know if there's any evidence that protein timing is exceptionally important. I would say that eating more food or having more protein earlier in the day is probably better. And loading your calories and more of your calories earlier in the day rather than heavy consumption late at night. A lot of people have issues sleeping, and eating too late at night is a big one. So I would taper off your food consumption, not be doing a lot of carbohydrates and stuff later in the evening, not eat too close to bed. And there's other things you can consume as you get close to sleep and proper hydration, electrolytes and stuff like that can help you sleep better. But eating really close to bedtime is not good. And I would recommend just getting more of your calories and protein stuff earlier in the day. I wouldn't obsess about timing. Like the anabolic window after training, X, Y, and Z. I have collagen and protein earlier in the day and before training. And as long as you're getting in your protein overall, you have to figure out what works best for you. Some people like to eat a full meal closer to before when they train. They like an hour after. Some people can't eat for a while. They like to train on an empty stomach. So you have to figure out what works best for you. We talked about this yesterday when it came to pre-workout. So pre-workout is not just an arbitrary thing that you buy off. It says pre-workout on it at GNC or Vitamin Shop. A pre-workout is just whatever you do before your workout. And that doesn't have to be a pre-made powder with artificial ingredients and tons of stimulants. Pre-workout is just whatever you do pre-workout. So you have to define these things for yourself. Yahir, c'est moi. Papa Soli, advice for going to the gym for the first time. Well, good for you. If you can, go with someone that knows what they're doing. Get on a quality program. Get a personal trainer if you're able to. You have to know what you're doing. So you don't have to have a personal trainer, but you should be studying and you should be executing weights with proper form. So if you have a friend or you have someone that you know, or you get a free session, sometimes memberships, you get a free session with a personal trainer, but you can also sign up for something like we have the Swolenormous app and join us over at Swolenormous X and start the 90-day dash program. And the beautiful thing about a program is different than training. A lot of people exercise. Let's just put it that way. Exercise and training are two different things. Exercise and training are two different things. A lot of people exercise. They do physical activity and they do something until they feel tired or until they feel sweaty or just until they feel exhausted. And they go back and they think it's just about feeling fatigued in the moment. We know that it's progressive overload, that you need to know what you're doing. Training is part of a program. Training is doing specific things for a specific outcome over the long term or medium and long term. So training has different principles than just doing physical activity. So you want to make sure you're on a quality training program. And if you need that, we have it over at swolenormousx.com. And that's why we created Swolenormous X. So you could have all the various programming and all the meditation and yoga master classes, all the training splits and variety depending on what your goals are and what your experience is. That's why we have several different programs and all the thousands of additional pieces of content inside the app. All right, let's see. Clow on Instagram, Papa Solio, I am desperate. I am obese with 140 kilograms. So what is 140 kilograms? Like 300 pounds? What do you recommend? I recommend you get your nutrition order right away. You need to learn about the toxins in your environment, estrogenics, hormonal birth control, all these things that are just garbage for the female body. This is a female, I'm assuming, based on the avatar and the name. And not only that, focusing more on things like grass-fed beef and raw dairy and eggs, focusing more on just meat and fruit, quality protein, quality fats, quality carbs, and it's more about what you're eliminating. So get to the foundations, get to the fundamentals, do the elimination diet, really clean out your house, get your habits in order. Join the Swole fam over at Swolenormous X, and we'll guide you every step of the way. Fitness is very important, physical fitness, but if you are morbidly obese, you really got to start attacking this with just general exercise, going for more walks, and getting your nutrition in order. And then as soon as you can get on a quality strength training program, which will only help you. But the nutrition and just your general lifestyle habits are in the shitter. So it really has to come down to the quality of your food first. That's why we recommend the elimination diet to start. Getty's John, Papa Swole, I started walking in the morning. Does that count as going to the gym? No, but it counts as walking, and walking is very good for you. So walking is great, but it definitely does not count as going to the gym. Absolutely not. The Wolf Boy 123, could yoga be the only form of exercise? It could be, but it should not be. You're not going to get the progressive overload. You're not going to get the bone density and the hypertrophy that is very, very important for longevity. So yoga can be a massive component. Mobility is very important, and yoga is fantastic, but you should be lifting heavy weights. The screen name is the Wolf Boy. So if you're a boy and you want to become a man, lift heavy weights. Everyone should be lifting weights, and you should try to get jacked. It's hard to build muscle, so you should try to get jacked. You want to be a man. You don't want to be a boy anymore. It's time to grow up. Go to the fucking gym. Don't just do yoga. Come on now. We have hundreds of yoga classes, but I would not say just do yoga. Real Space Shuttle Door Gunner says, I worked out yesterday without pre-workout and did just fine. You're tired, then do the work tired. If you require pre-workout in terms of a stimulant, because I'll have things pre-workout, but I'm not taking stimulants from training in the afternoon. I'm not doing caffeine. If you need stimulants to train, you are chronically exhausted and you need to get more sunlight. You need to eat better. You need to hydrate better. You need to get more sleep. So you should not be dependent on stimulants to exercise. You're just chronically exhausted. Last questions or last chance for questions, drop in the comments. Instagram, we're about to switch over exclusively to Rumble and YouTube at The Daily Swole. So make sure if you have a question, drop it now. Dafan, my metabolism is super rapid. What should I eat? Parentheses, no meat. What are you asking me? What should I have a fast metabolism. You're hungry. What should you eat? No meat. I'm not going to tell you to eat fake food. You should be eating steak and eggs and raw dairy and fish and chicken. You should be eating meat. You said no meat? Hey, what food should I eat? But don't tell me to eat food. That's ridiculous. Why would you avoid the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet? I'm not going to tell you to eat grass. What do I think about lifting weights for women? Essential. Women should be lifting weights and trying to build muscle and focusing on building muscle. No such thing as getting tone, and you're not going to get big as a woman. You know, most women don't train hard enough. They think they're going to get bulky, and they're not going to get bulky. Good luck with that. What kind of weights should a heart patient do? Talk to your doctor. A heart patient? Could you say something more vague? A heart patient. That's the most vague thing I've ever heard in my life. I don't know what that means. Sounds like you need to talk to your doctor and get your heart figured out. Slow turbo, 30 minutes to train per day. What's the best set/rep count for effective muscle gain? Not really important. 30 minutes per day. Just do an upper lower split. Or full body might be hard in 30 minutes. You'd have to be very specific compound exercises. Or do upper lower. Rep counts doesn't really matter if you're pushing close to failure or to failure. So I would keep it lower, like 6 to 12. And you only need, depending on the frequency, you only need like maybe two to 4 sets per week for a body part, around, depending on how hard you're training and the quality of your execution. So you don't need, the thing is, you don't need volume. I shouldn't say you don't need volume. You don't need a lot of volume for training. The problem is most people don't have quality execution and push close enough to failure. So when you're doing that, when you're truly training with a high intensity and you're actually training within like a rep of failure, you don't need a lot of volume. You don't need more than 1 or 2 sets for a body part, period, in a session, especially if you're training 2 or 3 times a week for body parts. And if you try that training approach, like I just mentioned, that's what we do in Maximum Swole. If you're not training hard enough, you're not going to get results. That's designed for a high intensity training, but you don't need volume. You need that stimulus, and you want that stimulus frequently. So once you get more advanced, you can really decrease your volume tremendously and get a lot more out of your training because you're minimizing fatigue. Legend, what's your opinion of online workouts, like example, Beachbody workouts by people like Shaun T? I don't follow any of that stuff, so I don't know what they're putting out now, but usually those are just cardio workouts, and if you want to actually build muscle, you need to get on a strength training program, a hypertrophy program. It doesn't really matter if it's online or not. We have the Swolenormous app, and we have programs. I mean, everything's online if you put it online. You still have to do it in real life. No one's going to train for you. You can't get ChatGPT or Grok to lift weights for you and eat quality food for you. So just because something's online doesn't make it valuable or invaluable. It just makes it more accessible. So you still have to execute it. And a lot of those workouts, like Insanity or whatever Shaun T used to do, that's just tons of cardio. And it's just based on maximum exhaustion. And of course, people get results when they drain themselves, but these things are not maintainable long term, which is why people just don't do like Insanity over and over again, because it's insane. It's just tons and tons and tons and tons of failure cardio, essentially. So I would make sure that you get on a quality strength training program. That way you can recover properly if you're trying to maximize building muscle. And look, if you're in the gym lifting weights, lift weights to build muscle. Don't lift weights for cardio. If you want to do cardio, do a Versa climber, go ride a bike, go for a walk, do some sprints, do some kettlebell swings. If you want cardio, do cardio. If you want to build muscle, build muscle. Don't lift weights for cardio. Don't lift weights for cardio. It's like think about the opposite. It's like trying to walk or go running to get jacked. If you're doing cardio, do cardio. If you're lifting weights, lift weights to build muscle. And there's a very effective way. There are more effective ways to build muscle with weights. And then if you want to do cardio, focus on doing cardio. Don't combine them. Just my take. if you want to maximize your results. If you want to get a little bit of everything, if you want to improve your cardio a little bit, if you want to kind of build some muscle, but you're just kind of shortchanging yourself in both ways. And the issue is people they overestimate how easy it is to build muscle because it's not easy. So people think it's much easier. Oh, I'm just going to go to the gym. If I look at weights, I'm going to get big. And if I lift for a couple of weeks, I'm going to get big. It's going to take you years to build muscle. Years of focused, dedicated training to build muscle. So people put in fractions of effort because they feel like it's going to be so easy. If I actually try, I'm just going to build muscle right away. You won't. It takes time. And it takes a lot of learning, and it takes a lot of experience. And it's just compounded over time. And it gets harder to build muscle over time. If you're new to the gym, the stimulus is novel. So it's called newbie gains. Your body reacts a little bit more sensitively to building muscle when you haven't ever experienced your body to that kind of stress. So you might build muscle a little bit more rapidly in the initial few months or the first couple years, really. But then you peter off and you start to plateau, and it gets harder and harder to build additional muscle. That's correct. Dewey says if you want to get better at tennis, you don't go to the golf range. Exactly. All right, last chance for questions. What's the best distance for a 14-year-old to run per day? I don't give a shit. The best distance? That's such a weird question. A 14-year-old should be going to the gym. Go lift weights, build muscle, become a jacked monster. Go to the gym. Especially if you're a young male. All right? This should be the best answer for anyone. If you're a young man, if you're a teenager, if you're in your early 20s, if you're a man, period, go to the gym, build muscle. Get jacked. It's going to make every aspect of your life better. I promise you. Go and build muscle. Go get strong. Challenge yourself. Push yourself. Build muscle. Tandril, what are your thoughts on burnout sets? High fatigue, not really the reward. Because burnout sets, you're just, like doing drop sets, for example, is really nonsense. You're flushing a lot of blood to the muscles. Yeah, it burns, but it's not really beneficial for hypertrophy. Because you're just dropping the weight, for example. You're going from 50s to 30s to 20s to 10s. It's just a fatigue. You're just trying to push yourself to like an absolute fatigue limit, but the stimulus isn't there. You got the stimulus on your first all-out working set. And then what you're doing is you're decreasing the load, and the mechanical tension is less than what your muscles can handle. And you're just kind of getting that transient pump, flushing blood to the muscles, but you're not getting that stimulus. So save yourself the fatigue, rest a few minutes, and then do another all-out working set. Much better off that way. If you're not getting stronger, you're not building muscle. If you're not getting stronger, you're not building muscle. So instead of staying with the 20s and just doing 30 seconds rest and just doing 5-6 sets and doing 30 rep sets, you need to rest longer and then go to those 30s or 35s. Start going heavier. Jose, my wife wants to get rid of her tummy, but she has no time to go to the gym. We have 2 daughters and she has a full-time job. What can she do? Make the time. I'm not saying that she isn't busy or you aren't busy, but you have to, you said your wife. So or you did say, I thought you said she has 2 daughters. I'm like, well, you have 2 daughters, right? So she has a full-time job. What about you? You could watch the daughters. You could watch your daughters and then she can train. So you have to organize your time and shoulder some of the responsibility at certain times. And she has to prioritize going to the gym or training in the garage or in the living room. And you watch the daughters and then she can make her gains. Maybe she has to train at night. Maybe she can get up earlier and train in the morning, and you watch the girls and, you know, feed them breakfast and then she trains. So you have to work that out, but it's priorities. Everyone has the same 24 hours and you might have responsibilities, like your children are your responsibilities. So I get it. And they take priority, but you have to make sure that your daughters, it's also your family. So your daughters and your children This goes for everyone, has to know that fitness is a priority in this house. So, oh, mommy has to work out and daddy has to work out. And this is what we do. When they get older, they're going to learn like that's a huge part of what it means to be a responsible adult and how to take care of yourself. So you have to lead by example. Your children need to see you prioritizing your fitness. Your children need to see you prioritizing your nutrition and making those choices. So once they go out in the world on their own, you know, they're going to be faced with all these garbage foods. They're going to be faced with a lot of people that are encouraging them to make bad decisions. And you have to teach them the reasons why, explain the reasons why you're doing things. Don't just say, because I said so, because I'm the adult, because I'm your father, because I'm your mother. No, explain why you're doing these decisions and why you're making these choices. And it's a priority. And they're going to grow up seeing that and they're going to be respectful of it. Of course, she has the time. She has the same amount of time as I have, as anyone else has. And I'm not saying that you don't have, I'm not saying that some people don't have more responsibilities or obligations, I should say, right? It's all about how you phrase it. So how do you prioritize your day to put yourself number one? It's all about priorities. You need to put that on the top of the list. It can't be an afterthought, because at the end of the day, after everything happens, and then you just feel drained. Why? Because you're not filling your own cup. If you prioritize it and first thing in the morning, you both are getting your fitness on, and then you go to work and do all this stuff, she's going to have more energy. She's going to be more healthy. You're both going to be healthier longer to take care of your kids. You're leading by example. Everything's going to improve. I promise you, everything's going to improve if you take care of your health. But again, what example are you setting? If you're raising your kids and you're not exercising, guess what? And you guys know that when you have kids, they see everything. It's not what you say, it's what you do. And kids know if you're being a hypocrite. If you're telling them not to do something, like, hey, don't eat that, and then you're eating it, but how come you get to eat it? They know hypocrisy, and they know you're full of shit, and they're going to want to do those bad behaviors. So they're going to see if you prioritize the gym. They're going to know if you don't prioritize it. I mean, they're not going to know what fitness is. So you have to make it a non-negotiable. This is what we do. And lead by example and show by action. Because they're going to grow up and they're going to remember, oh yeah, mom always worked out in the morning and X, Y, and Z. That's why I also think it's great to train at home, because kids see the exercise equipment. They see the stuff. They see you using it. They see you training. I mean, some people want to have a little bit of a break. They don't want to train in their house. They want but it depends. In other words, there's positives and there's benefits for them seeing it, for the kids seeing it around the house and seeing that you have a squat rack or you have a gym in the garage and you go and train there, and they're going to want to do it with you. And that's a good thing. You want them to want to do it. But it's also an obligation. So you have to do it when you don't want to, and they're going to see the reflection of that discipline. And I'm not saying it's easy, but it's simple. It's execution, right? I'm not saying it's going to be convenient always. It's not supposed to be convenient. Life isn't supposed to be easy. It just is what it is. It is what you make. It is what you make it. So make it something that's a priority. It is what it is. Real space shuttle door gunner. I tell my wife she needs to take care of herself before she takes care of the kids. If not, she won't be able to help others. I agree. And it's weird in our society. You're being punished like as if you're being selfish. You're thinking of yourself first. Look, your kids are a part of your life. People have children and then upend their entire life and everything revolves around this complicated schedule and everything for their kids. Yo, fuck all that. Have your kid play with a stick and dig a hole in the ground. Go and explore outside. Like, they shouldn't be on a screen. They shouldn't be on their phone. They shouldn't be watching TV. It's okay they don't need tons of toys. They need to be bored and just to be creative and create their own fun. Give them autonomy just to fuck around with stuff. But make it something that they're creating. They can read books or they can go dig a hole. They need to be a part of your life. So you're bringing them into your life, and then when they get older, they can have their own life. It's just crazy. People have their kids with this massive, crazy schedule. It's kids just need free playtime. They need just free creativity and expression so they can think for themselves. They don't need to be just downloading nonsense at school all day or just staring at a fucking screen. Kids need to learn how to entertain themselves. It's parents just have kids' toys everywhere and their whole schedule revolves around their kids. That's why you have this negative connotation. It's not negative. That's why people have a negative connotation, or society does, right? It's like this layover of like feminism and girl boss bullshit. And oh my God, if you have kids, it's going to ruin your life and your life is over. It's quite the opposite. But that's because people give up their own lives and just revolve everything around the child. It's like, no, integrate your child with your life and teach them what it means to be an adult and what it means to be a responsible, successful human. Let them hang around when you're doing adult stuff. Show them your business. Show them what it is to do taxes. Show them what responsibility is. Have them go outside and be creative and go climb a tree or hit a tree with a stick or dig up and watch bugs crawl in the grass. You know, it's like, just let them go do shit. You don't have to be a constant entertaining force for your children. Show them love and allow them to develop their own creativity. It's really important. And a lot of kids' toys and TV shows and all this stuff is just mind-numbing garbage. It's just, it just makes kids retarded, like Miss Rachel and all these stupid TV shows and kids' music. It just makes kids retarded. Okay, let's see. John says, my daughter is amazed by my discipline, avoiding cookies, donuts, and cereal. I just tell her it's not the proper fuel for my body. Do you see me put donuts in my car? It's just common sense, like explain to kids. And that's the thing. If you have a reason, that's why here we educate on the Daily Swole and we educate in Swole Enormous X. If you understand the reason why you're doing things, you can explain it. This is why I'm doing these things. And if you never see your parents doing it, again, your children want to emulate you. You know, that period of time where it's like, oh, I want to be an adult. I want to be just like you. Your mom and dad is your superhero. So show them what a superhero does. Show them what it means to be a responsible adult. And then that gets imprinted on them. But you have to explain the reason why. It doesn't mean that you're restrictive. You have reasons why you're not doing things. And everyone else is sick and unhealthy and fat and miserable. It's like, lead by example. You're correct. It's called wisdom. You've been on this earth. You know what it means. It's always like that. You grow up and then you're like, oh, I remember when my mom or my dad was saying this stuff. Oh, yeah, they were right. There's always going to be a period where you find stuff out the hard way and you do something. You're like, oh, shit, my grandparents were right, or my parents were right. They were right when I was younger. I thought it was... Everyone has their own... You have to lead by example, and you have to pass that wisdom on and give them the best tools for success. People are always going to make their own mistakes. Everyone here made mistakes. You're not a human if you haven't made mistakes or things that you would have done differently. But that's why it's called wisdom and experience, and you pass that on. Mark says, helicopter parents are the worst. They take all the obstacles out of their kids' lives, and then when they get older and shit hits the fan, they don't know what to do. They need to be self-sufficient. They need to solve problems. So if your kid is like, well, how do I do this? It's like, well, figure it out. What do you think? Dewey says, I checked out the Miss Rachel shit for about 60 seconds this morning with my girls and I shut it off. It's garbage. Trash. Martial arts mama. My 5-year-old likes playing with my resistance bands and climbing up to hang from my squat rack. He likes to do dead hangs and pull-ups. He loves climbing. Kids should do that. And that's great. Like when you have a 5-year-old, he doesn't have to be doing max squats, but you get him very light weights. Like, hey, I want to do bench press. Cool. And you have him hold like the pink 1-pound dumbbells. Like, oh, good job. And hang from the bar. How long can you do it for? You did 30 seconds yesterday. 35? You can do little PRs and challenges and stuff. Kids love to be challenged. They love to be challenged. You know, and you could have some sort of like, fun family reward thing. Like after you train, you have, I don't know, a glass of raw chocolate milk, or you go outside and you have a nice breakfast and kids look forward to, it's kind of like a reward system, things that are healthy and good. And then you kind of, you have a little, that little bonus after you do the work. You can enjoy training, but it's like something that you need to do because it's time to do it. And kids love to be physical. The problem is the indoctrination system in our country with preschools and kindergarten. Kids don't get enough exercise, and we beat the creativity and the physical curiosity. We beat that out of children, unfortunately. on a large scale. And that's why people grow up, they don't even know how to learn. They're not interested in knowledge. They're just physically vapid, just wastes of existence. And you don't want to raise kids like that. Mark says, all the people who I went to elementary school to high school with had helicopter parents and they can't even do basic shit, which is sad. We talked about this yesterday with a question. What was the person saying? I live in a studio apartment. Remember that? Yesterday's episode. Go listen to that. It was a good rant on that. Someone asked about he lives in a studio apartment, doesn't have a kitchen. You know, how do I eat healthy or something like that? It's like, dude, get a hot plate and a pan and you have a mini fridge. There you go. And some Tupperware. Boom. Buy your food, cook it, and then put it in the fridge. What are you talking about? A kitchen? You need a room? You don't need a room for a kitchen. There's so many ways to cook. Get a Blackstone with a griddle top, or get like a hot plate and get 2 different pans, or depending on what you like to cook, or a pot and a kettle. Like, you can make all your food. All you need is something to heat things up with and then someplace to store. And if you have a studio apartment, you have a little mini fridge, or you buy a little fridge. And then you have a place to cook. And I don't know how to cook. Remember? I was like, and I don't know how to cook. Look on YouTube. Do a basic search. How do I cook a steak in a pan? Boom. Here you go. We talk about it all the time. You get some tallow. You get some steak. You get some ground beef. Cook it. Season it. Eat it. It's not complicated. People are just helpless. A lot of the questions that we get on the show are just young people, they just don't have any initiative, or they don't understand that they don't have to just ask, like, figure it out. If you really want something, you'll figure it out. No initiative, no execution. LET says, I'd take my kids to the gym at my husband's command where there's a rock wall and parallel bars. They'd play on those forever until I finished my workout. It was awesome. Yeah, that's why I like having the gym in the house and outside. Like, when we have kids, we have whole stall, the wood stall bars on the wall where you can stretch on them, and kids will just climb up that shit and hang from there. It's awesome. Loretta says, about cooking, it's not hard. When I got my house, I didn't have a proper kitchen, card table, and a hot plate. There you go. You get it done. Annie says, I always thought it was strange when people say they can't get their kid to eat healthy food. What kid do you know doesn't like fruit? Yeah. Well, a lot of people, they don't understand what healthy food is. They think healthy food is like a salad and chicken. That's plain. Like, there's no nutritional value. A salad. It's just like kids are eating lettuce. And kids want to eat steak. They want fat. They want protein. They want carbohydrates. Like, give them meat and fruit. Kids are going to love it. Kids love nutrition. Most people just don't. They think eating healthy is something it's not. So they're trying to feed their kid like raw broccoli, and they wonder why their kid doesn't want to eat it. It's just because it's disgusting. Because it's disgusting. And that's true. Space Shuttle Door Gunner says, the problem is people are lazy and their minds are fried from sitting in front of the TV or their phone. Just wait for someone to give them the answer. Exactly. And this is what happens when you sit your kid in front of an iPad or a phone or a TV all the time. They're just sitting there receiving, or you send them to school and they just sit there and they're told what to think and what to answer. If you don't answer this, you get it wrong. Oh, okay. So it's just memorization. They don't learn anything. They don't learn how to learn. That's really all this game is learning how to learn and understanding that gathering information turns into skills and tools they can use in life. But they're taught how to memorize stupid shit. Memorize all the capitals in the United States. Who cares? Think about this shit. Who cares? I think you should know these things, but does it matter if you know what the capital of Kansas is? I'm just saying. And a lot of people might not know now. Who cares? Seriously, who cares? What's the capital of Missouri? I don't give a shit. I don't care. I'll look it up. I don't give a fuck. What does knowing the capital of a state matter? I think it's good. It's information. It's a fact. And you can acquire this, but it's not like, oh, I need to know the capital. Why? Are you going to visit the Capitol building? I'm just saying, what context do you need to have that on the top of your head? Okay. What's the capital of Montana? I don't give a fuck. I'm never going. Probably. If you need to look, like, you look it up. What does that matter? What kids need to learn is how to eat healthy, how to take care of their health, exercising, just again, being curious, being physically active, learning how to live life like an adult. There's so much stuff you learn in school that's worthless, that doesn't have any application in real life. Then you get out of school, it's supposed to be education. That's the grift, right? We call it education in school. It's not. It's just brainwashing, useless programming. Kids graduate college. They don't know how to spell. They can't do their taxes. They can't cook. They don't know what exercise is. What are we teaching kids? You're in school for 15 fucking years and you don't know how to cook a steak. You don't know how to exercise. You can't start a fire. You can't do anything physical. You don't know how to learn and how to acquire information. You're not learning anything. You're much better off being like 18. Oh, I'm out in the world, and you've had a job. You're apprenticing with a plumber since you were 13 or 14. You know how to cook. You know how to do your taxes. You know how to change a tire and change the oil in your car. That's more. That would give you more. Knowing how to work and how to work in like some sort of like, corporate structure, learning a skill, learning how to learning how to interact with adults and how to manage money and how to invest and how to do your taxes. That's actually preparing you for life. School isn't. My geometry, fucking cares. Pythagorean theorem. Okay, cool story, bro. It's really not applicable in most cases. I'm not saying you shouldn't know these things or know of them or know how to conceptually, critically think, but again, you should be able to figure this kind of stuff out on the spot or be aware of these things, because you're not going to need to know what the Pythagorean theorem is. If there's an application for that, you can learn that and then utilize it, for example. You don't need to know it off the top of your head. And okay, when have you used the Pythagorean theorem in your life? You haven't, unless you're an engineer maybe or something. It's just not needed. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. It's just not necessary. So again, this is what is really important. When you have a child, what are you teaching them? You need to teach them how to function like an adult, how to navigate life. They need to understand about credit cards, about taxes, about Bitcoin. They need to understand about health. They need to understand about quality sleep. They need to understand about getting sunlight. They need to understand about exercise. Like, that's preparing them more for life than any of this other crap. There's no room for creativity with kids. They're taught to memorize shit in school all day, and then they come home and they have to do busy work, bullshit homework and fill this stuff out and go on the computer. And it's stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid. You can teach your kids everything that they need to know in a fraction of the time. Gabriel, I love that Ghostbusters shirt. Thank you. Gym Busters. It's now available on papaswolio.com. Links in my bio. 20% off. Pick it up. All right, good rant. PK says, the only time I used the Pythagorean theorem is when my husband and I were redoing a roof. Otherwise useless. Yeah, and guess what? Now with AI and stuff, you go on ChatGPT or Grok and it just does the math for you. You can cross-check it or whatever. Cool. But again, if you're trying to redo, we have tools, and this is what's beautiful, and this is what's beneficial about AI. It doesn't mean that you need to use AI and stuff like that to think for you, but it should just aid in your processing of thinking. Now you don't have to be an expert in these things. Like, hey, I'm building a roof that's this tall, this and the other, and then the AI will kind of, okay, cool. It just helps you be creative. It helps you create things based on what you want it to be, but where you might be lacking in certain skills. So it amplifies the human brain if you use it that way. But you need to understand how to critically think and how to, you need to understand how to acquire the information to get to an endpoint. And you have to be driven for that. You have to be inspired. You have to be creative. You have to be passionate about like finding the answer. You have to teach your kids how to want to figure something out. What do you do? Okay, if I want to figure out how this works, well, I don't know how that works. I don't know what the math is. Well, how do you figure that out? Well, I guess I would do this. Cool. Start there. Hey, I figured this part out. Cool. Then go to the next step. You have to teach your kids how to acquire information, because that's going to give them the tools to acquire information in any landscape. Where should I go to figure this out? and then you acquire the information, and then you can solve anything. It doesn't really matter what it is. That's what you should be teaching children, how to function as an adult. What are the things that you wished you knew how to do when you were becoming an adult? Man, if you go to school, and I did this, I went to elementary school and middle school and high school, and I went to college, and I graduated it was like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, whatever it was. And let me tell you, it didn't prepare me for the real world. Everything that I learned was because I was working since I was 13. I was interacting with people. I was working. I was selling. I was marketing. I was doing this kind of stuff. And I look back, it wasn't the school. It was what I was doing outside of school. It was the sports I was playing. It was the work. It was going door to door selling things, as, doing a trip for baseball. And I was selling coupons for advertising to fund a trip, and you're talking to people and you're selling. I was learning how to sell, door to door salesman kind of thing, as like a 13-year-old. So I look back on that and I hated it, but I look back and it was a good skill. You learn how to talk to people cold turkey, and you show up in your uniform, and I'm like, hey, I'm selling advertising for this, that, and the other. And sometimes people would give you a couple $100. Sometimes they wouldn't. Sometimes they give you $5, or sometimes they would just sit there and get used to rejection, or going to businesses and selling advertising in some magazine for, to support a local kid that's going on a national baseball tournament. So I used to do that stuff, and working at a culinary hot dog stand and getting like food certifications and working in food, and that's where I learned shit. That's where I learned stuff, was actually working. But now you can't work unless you're 16. This is why the problem with inflation and raising minimum wage to the point where you can't get an entry-level job, and it's just going to get replaced with AI. So a lot of entry-level jobs that kids used to have are just going to be automated, because either they're priced out, and because they're priced out, then companies just utilize AI and robotics, because it's not worth $30 an hour for someone to hand a cheeseburger out the window. So anyway, good rant. Mark says, my mom made me read the newspaper every day and I hated it. Now I read more than I watch TV. See, it's good. It's good. And in our house, there's not going to be like a TV. If we do anything, it's going to be family movie night. We all sit down, we watch long form content, because movies are great and they're entertaining and it's fantasy and it's creative. But movies are great. And, we got to make movies great again, not just TV shows, but movies where it has it's a story and it's longer attention span, not just 3-second video, scroll, dopamine hit. You're watching a whole story, like a play or something. But reading books, unlimited. You want to read as much as you want. Read as much as you want. Of course, not all books are on the table, but yeah, you expose them to a lot of different reading, and not baby books, but actual books. There's a lot of great stuff out there. And you want to teach your kids to love to read, because that's acquiring information. That's using their creative mind. That's, you're imagining the scene that you're reading, and it's just very important for the human mind, for just neurological health and mental health. And it's a great form of meditation, is reading, because you're focused. Okay, let's move on. Corey on Instagram, we'll wrap up. Where can I get some of your merch? Click the link in bio. It's all 20% off over at papaswolio.com. And the links are also over there in the link in bio for the rest of the podcast. We're going to move on. Thanks for being here. The Daily Swole is available on Rumble, on YouTube, on Spotify, Apple Podcast, The Daily Swole, and papaswolio.com for all the merch, memberships, and podcast links. It's right there in my bio. Thanks for being here, Beaches. Let's move on. All right. Let's get into some balls deep content. That's deep. All right, we ready? We got two balls deep. We'll do some throwbacks, but I got a funny one. That I added to wrap it up. So we got two gnarly ones. I'm assuming they're gnarly because they're in my folder. We'll do this one first. It's called Trans Women Boston Marathon. It's a stitch.
What's in the
So let's see what we got here. Trans Women Boston Marathon.
There were going to be men in the women's field of the Boston Marathon. My first instinct was to drop out. then drop out. This person is upset because the Boston Marathon has allowed trans women to compete. And it's like, I don't understand why that takes anything away from you. If you want to throw a fit and be like,
All right, I'm gonna pause here because this is retarded. Trans women are men. You're allowing men to compete against women, which is in any kind of physical activity is idiotic. It's just biologically inverted. Trans women are not women. Trans women are men masquerading as women, and there's no application on this planet where men should be competing against women in sports, unless it's like a mixed, men's, women's, mixed, whatever it is. But then that's designed for that. Anyway,
I want to drop out, then drop out. I thought the whole point of a marathon was to get the best out of yourself. See, like, how fast can I complete this 26 miles, and can I have fun along the way, and can I
not when you're competing against biological men that are physically superior in every way in terms of physical competition. That's why men and women's sports are separate, because women cannot compete with men.
Try new courses and maybe explore the world. I don't know. Are you going to win the women's division or take prize money? I don't think so. So I don't understand the
You're not going to win prize money if you're competing against men, you fucking idiot.
What you're upset about. Like, are you mad because instead of 900th, you're going to take 900th and first because of trans?
All right, this is a stupid argument. Are you going to be 900th and 900th placed, and now there's a trans woman, aka a man, so now you're going to be 901? We're not talking about 900 to 901. What about if you're number one? We're talking about you're number one. You're the number one female. You add a trans woman, aka a man, and now they win, and now you're number two. It's not about 900 to 901, because yes, that matters. But let's talk about the number one woman who's now going to be number two, or the number three who'd be on the podium and is now number four or number five. Or if there's 5 trans women, aka 5 men, then the number one is now number 6. So fuck you.
Woman maybe beats you. You know that trend that's going on right now? Like, oh, I forgot this was the point. This person forgot what the point of a marathon is. It's to complete 26.2 miles and maybe make some friends along the way. Trans women are not stopping you from doing that. Anyway.
Yes, trans women. Men. Yes. It's to run 26.2 miles and make some friends along the way. It's called competition. You're trying to beat your best time and you're trying to beat everyone else. Why do you think people are running this race? There are going to be people that are running it that they know they're not going to finish top 10 or top 5. So they might be going to make some friends and they might be going to just beat their personal time, but they're not, they know most people that run a marathon, like these big New York marathons, Boston marathons, whatever it is, most people go without the intent. They know they're not going to win. There's only a handful of people that are actually going to win, that have the potential to win. And there's like the elite, the best of the best, right? It's always like someone from Kenya or someone that's just, running a sub 4, whatever the hell it is, marathon, like whatever an awesome time is, like they're setting a record kind of thing. So most people aren't going. So I agree with that point, but that does not negate the fact that anyone that is a man that just claims to be a woman is now going to beat the best woman. So you are literally just diminishing and eradicating any competition for women. So again, what's the point of everyone? If you are, this is what makes me sick when it comes to women. If men are allowed to compete, all the women, you ready for this? All the women should quit. This is literally all the people, everyone should be boycotting. If they're going to allow men to compete against women, everyone should be like, I'm not competing. I'm not racing. So as much as this is ridiculous, anyone that's going along with this, anyone that's going to continue to run, no, I'm going to run anyway because I'm too good for this. I'm going to keep competing. No, you're part of the problem. It's everyone else that's a part of this is a part of the problem. Whomever's making this rule, everyone else, everyone working there, everyone should just be like, nope, I'm not going to do it. This is insane. And quit. And then you could have 3 fucking men racing in the women's division and everyone else boycotts it and no one else puts up with it. And they go run their own race somewhere else. That's called taking a stand. So anyone who's going along with this is part of the problem. Everyone. It's not just the 5 mentally delusioned men that are competing. It's everyone that's going along with this. You're complicit. So let's stop. I'm not putting the blame on the mentally disabled like they're mentally disabled. They have a mental illness. So this is not me saying this is their fault for having a mental illness. They should be helped. They should have their own division. They can go run with the men. But all the women that go along with this shit, all the women, you're complicit. So it's everyone that's partaking in this event, that's facilitating this, is part of the problem. It's not just the mentally insane.
Best of luck to everyone competing in the Boston Marathon this weekend. Have fun, worry about yourself, and if you want to drop out because you realize out of the thousands of runners running next to you, maybe one of them is a trans woman, then drop out. It's only hurting yourself.
No, it's not. These people have no morals, no principles. And again, you're the problem, right? You should drop out. You're part of the problem. No. If you drop out and you're like, I'm not competing against this, you're actually taking a stand. You have integrity. You see, retards like this make it seem like you're being petty. You're only hurting yourself. You should just swallow your pride and your integrity and go against logic, reality, common sense, and any kind of moral compass. And you should just suck it up. You're the problem. And you should just swallow your internalized fat phobia or transphobia. That's what she's saying. I disagree. LET says, let's not forget the revenue the city makes from all the competitors and their families. If all the women bowed out, it would be felt. I agree. So how many people are competing? Let's say you have 1,000 women running. Just saying. And they pass this, I'd be like, you know what? Fuck this. If everyone said, we're not doing this anymore. And you had like, let's say it was 3 trans men or trans, whatever, like 3 mentally insane people. And only 3 showed up. That would make a statement. That would mean something. They would lose revenue. It would be an eyesore, but they wouldn't. That's the problem, is you go along with it. Very frustrating. It just goes to show how many people are still just completely either bought and paid for or have no integrity. They just want, close their eyes, la la la, it's just going to go away. Oh, it's just a distraction. I don't want them to win. They're going to get the best of me. No, it's actually having morals and integrity. Yeah, trans people don't want their own division for a reason. The reason why men want to race against women is because they can't hack it in the men's division. So they want to beat women. It's like LeBron James wanting to play against middle schoolers. It's like, well, I just want to win. And so they can't compete against men. So they compete against women. They don't want their own division. They want power. They want command. They want attention. They're narcissists and they're mentally insane. And anyone who goes along with this is part of the problem. Probably worse. It's probably worse. You're facilitating mental illness and you are just eradicating women. It's a real insult to women. When are women going to stand up for this shit? You have some people like Riley Gaines and people that, became really front and center when they stood up against like the Leah Thomas, like the man swimming. It's just fucking sane. Women have to, how much does it take for women to just be like, fuck this shit? Stop being so agreeable. Stop being such pussies. Stand up for yourself. Feminism has this weird double-edged sword, but it's like girl boss, women are the same as men. But then it's like this whole self-hatred. Oh, but we're awful. We're so much better. We can do anything men can do, but we're awful too. I hate myself. You can do this. It's like this self-depreciating self-assault. It's just this weird. It's just, it's gross. It's like a fucking emotional weakness with this faux girl boss, strong, like I can do anything, girl power. What the fuck are you talking about? You allow them to walk all over you. It's both. It's self-sabotage and then complaining. So you're complaining and then self-sabotaging yourself. I thought women were awesome. I thought it was girl power. I thought it was girl boss. I thought, anything a man can do, a woman can do. We know that's not true. That's feminism. But why are you sabotaging yourself? Why are you shooting yourself in the foot? You're shooting yourself in the foot and then complaining that you can't walk and then blaming it on like the patriarchy. Oh, I can't walk because of men. It's like, no, you shot yourself in the foot. What the fuck are you talking about? Can't you take a win? You get your own division and you get your own sports and like women. We compete against women. No, we're going to let men come in. It's like allowing men to come in and the trans women thing so you have more stuff to complain about, right? It's like if you allow this shit, then you can get more attention because you're such a victim. No, you're victimizing yourself. Liberalism is a mental disorder. This kind of progressive bullshit, it's a mental disorder. You're sabotaging yourself and then complaining and like expecting people to come to your aid. Like, oh, you have it so hard. You're oppressed again. Shut the fuck up. You're asking for it. You're going along with it. What do you guys think? This next one, and then we'll do a funny one, some throwbacks. This one's called Misgendered. Misgendered. Oh my God. They have a cave troll.
So mad at work today, I got misgendered by customers 5 different times.
Holy fucking shit. What, they thought you were a human instead of sloth? Holy shit, man. I don't even know what this is.
5 different times. You could obviously tell I am a woman. And I got
You're the ugliest fucking woman I've ever seen in my life. You're a man, dude. You're a woman? Holy shit. Did they ever capture the elephant that got out of the zoo that sat on your fucking face?
Gendered 5 different times. I finally yelled at one of the customers and looked at him and says, "Do I look like a goddamn man to you?"
Yep.
I sure did.
Yes, sir.
And then I told him if he called me a man one more time, I was going to reach across his counter and slap him.
Chill out, bro.
Which I got in trouble for and wrote up for at work because I shouldn't be talking to a customer that way. But damn it, if I tell you that I am a woman, then you need to freaking listen.
Nope.
Because that's what I am.
You're not.
Nobody gets to tell me otherwise.
Just did.
So, yeah, I got misgendered again 5 different times at work today.
Did you take your jab?
I guess I need to write she, her on my forehead.
Not gonna help.
I'm telling you.
Not gonna help. Okay. How does that person... You don't have a job? If that person has a job... If that person has a job... If that person has a job, you can get a job. Okay, let's do this video. I thought it was funny. Let's take a look. It's called Gym Bros Right Wing. Gym Bros Right.
What's in the box?
Right wing.
Gym bros tend to be right-wing assholes. Yeah, of course. What do you think they'd be? Carrot-eating Hillary Clinton voters? Let's see. Discipline, hard work, waking up early, putting my body through pain daily. What of any of the things I just said is consistent with being a liberal pussy loser? Oh, nothing? Okay. Well, then that should be common sense.
Ah, that was nice. That felt good. Yeah, pretty accurate. Oh no, gym bros are more likely to not be left-wing Democrat pussy assholes? Shocker. We're all shocked. Oh my God, discipline, hard work, challenging yourself? Oh no, I'm so shocked. I'm so shocked. How is that possible? Oh my God, how is it possible that people that exercise have logic and common sense and, cause and effect? If I go to the gym and I challenge myself and I push myself, low time preference? Oh my God. Fam, who would have thunk it? Are you guys shook? Are you shook yet? You shooketh? I don't even think I held up this card. Today's Swole card is Never Stop Gaining. It's the title of today's show. Never Stop Gaining. Drop that hashtag in the comments down below. A lot of you already dropped it because you got the Swole text. Let's do a throwback. Fam, I want you to pick the throwback. Pick a number 1 through 6. Drop in the comments. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, or number 6. Pick a number 1 through 6. 1 through 6. PK says number 5. Number 5. So let's do this. Let's do number 5 then. And we'll do 2 of them. Maybe we'll do more. We'll do 2.
Phobia from doctors before, but never from a dentist.
Guess who you're voting for? Oh, I'm voting for Coach Wall.
But he was crossing the line of dental advice and dietary advice.
You should probably listen to him, dude.
I'll tell you what, I eat real fucking food, and I brush my teeth with baking soda, and I use coconut oil when I floss. Every time I go to the dentist, nothing is worse. My gums are fine. He's like, keep doing what you're doing. Oh, do you want a toothpaste or fluoride stuff? No, I don't. No, I don't want any of that shit.
Kept saying to not eat carbs and told me to not eat chips.
No fucking shit. Yeah, you dumb fuck. Jesus Christ. All right, we got this one. Martial Arts Mama, number 6.
What's in
Let's
the
do another
box?
throwback. Let's do another one. Another one.
Lost over 100 pounds at least twice in my life and over 50 pounds more times than I count in my life.
When someone opens up a video saying I have lost over 100 pounds at least twice in my life and over 50 pounds more times than I can count in my life, 100 pounds twice in your life and over 50 pounds more times than I can count, you have terrible fucking habits. How do you have to do that over and over again?
Highest weight to my lowest weight, the way people treated me was significantly different.
The way you treat yourself is embarrassing. You're treating yourself like shit. What do you expect from other people?
It almost affects my mental health now.
Sucks to be you.
Because I'm not talking about just like the male gaze, just more men are more interested in you.
Yeah, they're more attracted to someone who looks healthy and not half dead. Oh, God. Oh. Based. Younger Papa. All right, I'm feeling frisky. Let's do another one. Let's do a triple throwback. Let's do another one. Let's go with Space Shuttle Door Gunner number 2. Oh, Space Shuttle brought us Rosie O'Donnell. Boo.
Happened that day, but I don't think it was a bullet that hit him.
You're a dumb bitch!
I think it was maybe a fragment of something, or...
A fragment of something? A fragment of what? Of a bullet?
Without a scar to be seen, yet blood all over it.
Yeah.
Look at the photos of him right after with his fist pumping. A normal reaction, right?
Yeah, not for a fucking soy boy beta cuck, but for someone who's actually able to stand up and believes in what he's doing. You don't think Trump knows that he's a target? They tried to put him in prison, and they tried to kill him because they can't stop him.
There's something really hinky about the whole thing, and I don't know what it is.
You've been brainwashed.
But I am saying this. For people who go on conspiracy theories for endless cycles.
You mean you? He didn't get hit with a bullet. The guy behind him that got shot through the fucking face. I'm not sure exactly where he got shot, but dead. You know what that reminds me of? When she goes, I don't know, something hanky's going on. Remember from The Fugitive with Tommy Lee Jones? When, I forget what his name is. The guy was also in The Matrix. When he was like, I don't know, it's Hinky. No, the other guy with the mustache. He's like, it's Hinky. And then Tommy Lee Jones' character is like, what is that, Hinky? He's like, I don't know, Hinky, strange. And he goes, don't use words around me that have no meaning. Such a great line from The Fugitive. If you've never, I mean, you guys know the movie probably. Don't use words around me that have no meaning. That's what that means. That's what I hear every time I hear someone use the word hinky. Who the fuck used that word? I haven't heard it since Rosie O'Donnell, since The Fugitive. Don't use words around me that have no meaning. Ireland. Is she still in Ireland? I feel bad for Ireland. I feel really bad for Ireland, but I'm actually really great. I'm really grateful that she's not here anymore.
The Almighty says, don't change the subject, just answer the fucking question.
But I feel bad for Ireland. I feel bad for Ireland. If I lived in Ireland and Rosie O'Donnell came to my country, I'd be like, fuck, now we gotta move.
I'm the most wanted man on my island. Except I'm not on my island, of course. More's the pity.
More's the pity. More's the pity. I'm the most wanted man on my island, but I'm not on my island, of course. More's the pity.
I didn't like him anyway. He wasn't right in the hat.
What a great movie. What a great character. All right, let's give away today's Swole card. Fam, thanks for being here. Today's Swole card is Never Stop Gaining. Never stop gaining. Never stop gaining. And that's great advice. That's great advice. Never stop gaining. And look, if you're just new to the gym or you're a younger male or female, please go make sick fucking gains. Get jacked. Become a fucking monster. Get fucking swole. I'm telling you, you need to get swole. It will help you in all aspects of your life. I can't say that with more fervor. Hashtag never stop gaining. Let's give away today's Swole card. Thanks for being here today, Beaches. Never stop. Never stop. I'm gaining. Never stop gaining. I can't stop gaining because I never stop gaining. I've never, ever, ever, ever stopped gaining. Today we got a winner. It is, oh boy, don't say his name more than twice, Candyman 156.
Congratulations!
All right. Candyman. I said it twice. Congratulations. Send us an email to support@swolenormous.com. Swole card 3309. 3309. Drop that in the comments. Drop that an email. 3309. Swole card 3309. The subject, your mailing address in the body of the email. And we'll send you this Swole card. Never stop gaining. Congratulations. Thanks for being here, Beaches. Make sure to like, subscribe, share the show with your friends. Again, make sure you subscribe on Spotify and leave a comment. Leave a 5-star review if you enjoy the show. You could also do the same thing. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. Join the fam over at swolenormousx.com and download the Swolenormous app. All the brand new releases are right there on your homepage. We got it all there inside the Swolenormous app. Don't miss out on that. And of course, when you become a member, you get full access to all the amazing content. We have the new merch. We have the new drops right there. All the releases from the past week and the previous weeks as well. Everything is right there on your homepage. And of course, we have everything else at the top. Easy to scroll, catch all the previous overtime segments, Driving While Gaining, this past week's Rise and Swole Roundtable. We got everything you need over at swolenormousx.com. Join the fam today. Download the Swolenormous app and join the greatest fam in the realm. And we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Peace, McGee's, Deuce, Magoose, your boy, Papa Swolio. Out.
Crazy flow, need a straight jacket. Cash flow, I'm a bank addict. 6 subs, had the bass smacking. 808s, had the place clapping. 3 girls is enough for me, so I pull out like the stock crashing. Like an IPO, trying to purchase me. This a private sector, so you can't have it. Faking all that boom bapping. Who you think you is, boy? 90s want they sound back, so I give rap all these fake rappers as I take matters in my own hands. I don't need rapping, I don't need Zans. I don't need help, I'm a grown man. Now they can't laugh and they so mad, it's like
then yeah, I found that young king with my crown at 10 racks in the fanny pack, couple hundred in the Louis bag.
That's a bag that you made. That's a bag that you made. That's a bag that you made. That's a bag that you laid. What kind of game is you playing? We go hard in the paint. We go hard in the paint. What the fuck is you saying? What the fuck is you saying? I only go where they pay. What kind of game is you playing? Yeah, well, my shit is relevant. On topic, my melanin is popping. I'm taking skeleton.